They're frightened by the Democrats. They're frightened by the press. They seem frightened of everyone except voters like you who put them in office and gave them both houses of Congress. I'm talking about so-called Republican leaders in Washington who refuse to stand with Donald Trump and end Obamacare. Well, I say let's light a fire under them right now. I'm Congressman Paul Broun, and today I'm asking you to help me generate maximum pressure on the entire GOP leadership by signing your Stand with Trump, End Obamacare petition. I'm going to ask you to sign the petition below in just a moment, but first, allow me to tell you why your signed petition and financial contribution are critical at this moment in the fight. As you probably know, I served in Congress from 2007 to 2015, but I've also been a medical doctor for over 40 years. As a physician, I understand firsthand the devastating impact Obamacare has made on our entire healthcare industry. Skyrocketing prices, lower quality care, fewer services. I'm sure you've heard the horror stories. And you or someone you know has probably suffered from the ill effects of Obamacare and the huge tax bills and skyrocketing insurance premiums are just now coming due. No matter how you look at it, Obamacare has been a flat-out disaster, to say the least. For the past 6 years, Republicans used Barack Obama as their excuse for not ending Obamacare. As the chief sponsor of legislation to end Obamacare back in 2011, I've heard just about every excuse in the book. But today, with Republicans in control of Congress and Donald Trump in the White House, there's no good reason for Republican leaders in Congress not to immediately end Obamacare, exactly as they promised in their 2016 campaigns. But there's no time to waste. A lot of Republicans in Congress are falling in line behind leadership and waffling on their campaign promises to end Obamacare. Some are now talking about repairing Obamacare, and some are even talking about fixing it. Fortunately, a handful of conservatives, led by my good friend Congressman Jim Jordan, are standing up and fighting back against leadership's refusal to take action and end Obamacare. But with a firestorm surrounding every word and move made by President Trump, these conservatives need a strong, clear stand from you and many others to make sure GOP leaders in Congress keep their promise to end Obamacare. I'm asking you to please help send that message by signing your Stand with Trump, End Obamacare petition at once. In addition to signing your petition, I'm asking you to please join me in making a financial contribution to help the National Council for Freedom and Enterprise fund this critical effort. Obamacare apologists went down in flames at the ballot box every election cycle since passage of the Obamacare disaster. In 2010, Republicans picked up 63 seats in the U.S. House, seizing control away from Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. As a member of Congress in 2010, I can tell you for certain that Obamacare was the deciding issue of that election. In 2014, voters across the country fired Harry Reid and elected a Republican majority in the U.S. Senate. Every new Republican elected in 2014 campaigned on the promise to fully end Obamacare. And in 2016, Donald Trump made ending Obamacare a central theme of his presidential campaign. Obamacare is the reason why Republicans now control the U.S. House, the U.S. Senate, and the White House. So today, you and I must send the GOP leadership a loud and clear message. Stand with Trump and vote to end Obamacare, or face the wrath of angry voters in the next election. If I've learned one lesson during my time in politics, it's that those kinds of messages resonate with elected officials, especially considering the results of the past few election cycles. That's why I've decided to help the National Council for Freedom and Enterprise in their all-out fight to end Obamacare. I've worked with the leaders of the National Council for Freedom and Enterprise for well over a decade now. They're principled, they're effective, and they know what it takes to get the job done in Washington. Unlike many national organizations, the good folks over at the National Council for Freedom and Enterprise refuse to accept excuses or run away when the press complains. It's now or never. So can I count on you to answer the call by chipping in the maximum financial contribution you can afford to help my friends over at the National Council for Freedom and Enterprise? Some folks have given as much as $1,000 to the National Council for Freedom and Enterprise. A handful have given $5,000 or even more. Some have given $500. If you're blessed enough to contribute that much or more, I believe this program is an investment worth making. But I also understand most folks cannot contribute such a large gift at this time. If for you a contribution of $50 or $100 is a sacrifice, any amount you can give will be greatly appreciated and put to immediate use. Just please give what you can, even if it is chipping in $10 or $20. Any amount will make a tremendous difference. The National Council for Freedom and Enterprise will use targeted emails to contact up to 5 million Americans over the next 3 weeks to turn up the pressure on GOP leadership to stand with Trump and end Obamacare. And resources permitting, the National Council for Freedom and Enterprise is prepared to launch hard-hitting TV, radio, and internet banner ads calling on targeted members of Congress and GOP leadership to stand with Trump and end Obamacare. So please, sign your petition below and chip in a contribution at once. In 2018, there are 10 Democrat senators who will be facing re-election in states won by Donald Trump. And Trump won 6 of those 10 states by substantial margins. That means these senators are extremely vulnerable to pressure. Based on feedback from meetings on Capitol Hill and public statements, the National Council for Freedom and Enterprise will narrow down and target select members of Congress for extra pressure. But today, it all starts with your signature. Your signed petition and those of 10,000s of other freedom-loving Americans will send a clear message to GOP leadership. Force an immediate vote on ending Obamacare or face the consequences in the next election. As someone who served in Congress from 2007 to 2015, I know there's no better time than now to turn up the heat on GOP leadership in Congress to stand with Trump and end Obamacare. Let me assure you, if anyone can get the job done, it's my friends over at the National Council for Freedom and Enterprise. But they can't do it without your help and support. So please, sign your petition to stand with Trump to end Obamacare below and chip in a generous contribution of $500, $250, $100, $50, $35, even chipping in as little as $10 or $20 or whatever you can afford immediately. Thank you in advance for your support. Together, you and I can end the nightmare of Obamacare once and for all.